All right, welcome to the Men of Iron podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This month, the focus is fitness.
True. The BODcast.
The BODcast. It's Silver Fox, Justin Watkins, and
Big Room.
Big Room.
Not self-proclaimed. Other people call me Big Room.
Yeah, it fits. It fits. So we're working through this. If you've been with us, we started off with just kind of looking at what is fitness, trying to define it more holistically, and then tying it back to the gospel.
Yep.
1 Corinthians, and we'll hit this again today. This reminder, 1 Corinthians 6:19. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you've received from God? You're not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. So focusing on how the what and the why. And so last week we talked a lot about why do you work out? And that was the kind of call to action is like, think about your why. Are you working out for yourself, for others' approval? Again, it's not bad to have, say what you said, because I thought it was good last week about, are you saying like we shouldn't go for gold? We shouldn't try to win?
No. Yeah, just like as we talked about last week, just like, no, like if there is something that you want to pursue and like in some sort of fitness or in some like either if it's rec sport or like some running thing or whatever, no, chase that. Like chase it, but like, what are you chasing it for? Like, why are you chasing it? Like, is it something that like, man, I can honor God because he's given me these abilities, or just something fun that I can do with like other people or whatever, or it can like do something in the community together that we can chase after something together. But like at the heart of it, it still needs to be about chasing after and glorifying God with our bodies. So yeah, that's the main thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So having a reminder of that, and that's really what we're talking about today is when it becomes too much the other side.
Yep.
How do we keep that in balance? How do we keep that tension so that it is focused on first and foremost God and others and our purpose, while also being able to chase goals and have fun and build community. So how do we make sure we don't go too far and flip flop those? So I'll just ask you, like, describe the ways that fitness can become an idol, and or if you want to tie in your own experience, if you've ever done that before. I know you're perfect in every way, but like, let's just like pretend.
No. I think like the main thing is it's just like too much time. And like, especially like most of you guys listening, most of you guys have a family or at least have a wife or something, or in some sort of relationship or different stuff. So it's like either too much time away or different stuff like that. Also just like from a pride standpoint, like putting your identity in it, or like also it can be like body dysmorphia, like good or bad, like either, man, I'm not like big enough or whatever, but I'm also, I can't get skinny enough or I can't like lose this weight or different stuff. But I think, or like even becoming like too disciplined and like, man, like I can never like enjoy life at all. I can't like, man, like if my kids, like we want to go get ice cream, like, no, I'm never touching ice cream in my life. But or different stuff like that, like just relax. But like, I think for me, I mean, just like a little bit of my personal journey, I think definitely like from like the addicted to fitness or maybe the idolatry of fitness was definitely like more, I'd say like in high school and like even like the first couple of years at Messiah, just like maybe from like the sports performance and like having my identity way too much and just like chasing after these dreams of like, man, like even in high school, I was like, man, I really want to play a college sport, or like, man, the only way I was kind of like this, like the sports guy, or like this, always been like this athletic guy or whatever. Like you almost feel like you have to like live up to some standard that like other people put on you. And it's like, man, okay, if I'm not excelling in this, like if I'm not like the biggest guy, or if I'm not like super lean, or like all these different things, it's like, man, like people aren't either going to care for me, or like they're not going to see me, like, because you just constantly, and once people start affirming you in that, it's like great, but it's like, man, like that's not where your identity is. And my identity during that time and stuff, like something I've still had to keep like going back to, like, where is my identity? Is it in like how I look, or just like this image I'm portraying, or different stuff like that? So yeah.
I mean, I think it's really hard. You're describing really good like practical ways, and because like how do you like recognize that it's becoming too much of an idol, and see it in your own life, and it's really hard sometimes because I know for me, again, fitness and again holistically, but we're talking about like, so I've got a workout routine. I'm trying to eat healthy. I'm trying to stretch. I'm trying to take care of my body. Like when you start to focus on that and have a good like rhythm in there, it's so easy to compare yourself up.
Yep. I agree.
And I go, man, I am like so far from where I want to be. Like, I don't look like that guy. I can't do that. I
agree.
And it's so easy to compare up.
Yeah.
And there can be a problem if you compare yourself down and you can put yourself up too much. But it's funny how we often go above rather than, okay, like, wow, like, I'm going to be 40 this year, and I feel like I'm in some of the best shape of my life. Like,
you look good. You look good.
Hey, thank you. And I felt a lot better until we started hiring all these like mid 20-year-old studs on our team this year, who are much more in shape than I am. And it's easy to be like, oh man, I'm not this way. I'm not this tall. I'm not this strong. I don't look that good. Like, and it becomes, and then that is making it an idol. It's changing the purpose of what fitness can be, to glorify God, to pursue the purpose He's given me, to help others, to feel healthy, to feel good. Yeah. You've replaced it with all these dark things of comparison and jealousy and devaluing your self-worth.
Yeah. I think, like, I mean, we're just talking about that, but like John 10:10 says, like, the thief comes only to kill, steal, and destroy. But I came that you may have life and have it abundantly. And like fitness and this fitness and just being healthy and like this holistic, like we talk about, like sleep, nutrition, doing stuff together, doing it to serve others, like, man, these are things like God has created that He wants us to do, but like the enemy is like attacking and he doesn't want us to see us succeed. And I think that's a super easy way of like either making it an idol or like, just pride or different stuff like that he tries to get us just to kind of like lean into, and like just comparison and different stuff. And I think it's specifically that stuff.
Yeah. So what are like ways, kind of talked a little bit about it already, but like what are some very practical ways that a guy could see, hey, I'm out of balance. I'm making it an idol. Like what are some like flags that you would point to?
Yeah, I think flags, and this is just speaking from my experience, is like, man, I think the time thing is big for me. Like, because you make time for what's important to you. Like, and like, man, if I'm sacrificing time, like spend time with God, like if I'm like, I know, so for me, sometimes like, this is a real thing. Like, man, I'll go late at night or early in the morning to the gym or different things, but like, I'll just like get to like my time with God later, or like, okay, I'm going to go home, or I'm going to go to the gym after work, and like, like my family will be awake. Like they're fine for like a little bit. It's like, that's a big thing for me. It's like the time of it as well. And then also like, if you get angry, if you cannot like work out, or you can like, I'm just saying from my own experience, or like if you're having like a bad workout and different stuff, like if you get like actually angry at yourself or like mad at something because like you're not doing super well, like you gotta check yourself if that's like a real thing. At least that's what's for me. Like, what about for you? Like, what are ways that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. I feel like when I'm in a rhythm and a routine and feeling good, and then I miss, like, there's a vacation and the place we're staying at does not have a good gym, and you're like, I'm so angry. This vacation's ruined. That's probably putting a little bit too much weight on that fitness pursuit. And I think being evaluating your own joy and like value within that. Like if you're making it such a priority, like you're saying, like you're missing time with the Lord or with family or with other things, or if when you're in there, it's not bringing you a healthy excitement and happiness and joy, and it's more just like you're chasing something that you feel like you can't get after, you're angry, you're frustrated. Like if it's bringing those lies in that you mentioned from John 10, like if you're bringing in lies to your life, man, that's a sign that's not what it's supposed to be about. Because if God is glorified in everything we do, like we talked about last week, if in everything we do we can glorify Him, that means like that's a good indication. If it's not glorifying Him and bringing that, and we can you can tell that, when you're glorifying the Lord and feeling good in His will, and
for sure.
That's good.
Yeah. One question, just kind of going off that too, like one thing that's like someone asked me, just like when I was like kind of working through like some identity and some like either like sports performance or just like how I looked or like whatever, is like, man, like if God took this away, like it's like a good like measuring stick is like, man, if God took this away from me tomorrow, like if I like say it's like sports, like if I tore my ACL or tore my Achilles or did something like where, man, like I couldn't work out, like obviously you're gonna be upset. Like I'm not negating that, but like how much would that crush you if you can't, like if God was like because sometimes he does love us enough to like take stuff away from us because he wants, like, I think like this fitness and stuff is a gift. Like, at least it's a gift for me. I feel like it's a way that I enjoy interacting with people and doing stuff. But like sometimes I think we fall in love with the gift instead of like the giver of the gift itself more. I think that's like idolatry in itself.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm in a place, and I don't know if I'm prone to injuries or I'm just old now, but I feel like I get injured either in the gym or playing ball, and like it is hard to not feel super frustrated. It just happened earlier this year. Like I was making some really good gains in a couple of exercises, and then I tweaked my back and like had to stop both of those things for months to recover, and like found myself, that was a good check of like you said, like it's taken away. All right, like but look around, like you've got a purpose at your job, your family, friend. Like I think looking at it through the other core 5 is, you mentioned time already, priority and like purpose in the other core 5 areas, your faith, your family, your friends, and your finances. If fitness is like at the top and it's crowding those out, that's a good indication that something's out of balance for sure.
I agree.
I want to hit back because we've talked about this a little bit already, but on the converse, so we're kind of like talking about like, hey, the guys that are like making priority too much, what about the guys that are not making it a priority enough? What are warning signs, or how do you know that, hey man, like you need to get off the couch, you need to be moving, and what are some of those indications that might be making it an idol in the opposite way?
I think it's tough. I don't think, like, I've never really experienced that. So I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just saying but you almost could look at the same things just on the flip side. Like, man, like how much time am I like spending like either like looking at a screen, or like how much time am I just spending at home just like doing nothing? Like we're called to action, and like I think that's like one thing like for me is like, or just like, do you see other, I'm not exactly sure, to be completely honest. I just think it's like a time thing, or like, if you just feel like lethargic or like, I'm not sure. Maybe you could speak to it better than I could.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
Thanks. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I mean, just looking at, the truth is most likely we're talking to our audience probably. I know Men of Iron guys are probably all balanced in their core 5. Great. But the statistics show that, especially in the fitness area, men are not pursuing this very well. Like there's a bunch of statistics that you could, like Indiana University, there's this medicine report, like the mortality rate for men is 41% higher than it is for women. They're leading in 8 of the 10 leading causes of death that include heart disease, stroke, diabetes, which are often related to your health and fitness. Back in 2018, the CDC said that only 28% of men 18 and older met the federal physical guidelines for aerobic and strength activity minimum.
That's not good.
Only 28%.
That's not good.
As of 2020, 42% of men aged 20 and older were considered obese. 42%. So I think actually when we're talking about this, there's probably a lot more of our audience that are actually in this boat going, man, I just like, I don't want to do it. I don't feel, and I think we touched on it already last week, and it goes back to the gospel. You think you're not worth it. You're too far behind. And again, you're comparing yourself up. I can't be like those gym rats. I can't do that. Like, and then you just discount the thing that God wants to do and use your physical body. Okay. And again, it's not making it an idol. It's not about your body. It's about your worth in Him. Is so high that He wants you to live this life to the full. And He wants to use you for the relationships around you. He wants you to be healthy for your kids, for your neighbors. He wants you to feel like you can be confident. Like you should be confident.
That's true. Go ahead.
And
go crazy. Go crazy.
And if you're not in that spot because of your physical wellness, man, like you just need to hear that you can do it. And it is it's going to take, here's the thing that does suck about fitness. It takes a long time and it takes a commitment. It's small steps. It takes getting into routine and building habits that you just keep running back through and building momentum, but it does take time. You're not going to go to the gym tomorrow and magically lose, 50 pounds.
Just to put it, like Justin just said all that stuff, and it's very true. But like, hey, if you have a good faith, or you have like, if you have good marriage or good relationships, like, that took the same amount of time. Like, and like, so like, if you're pursuing time with God, or you're doing all this other stuff, like pick something that you're really good at, and like, how did you get there? Like, you just have to take a step, and it takes time, and like, good things take time most of the time. So just start and just keep taking steps, just one day at a time, and just keep going, and just invite people into it too that can help you. But
and it builds, and it does get better, and you start to get into a place. And you're going to be sore if you're just starting any sort of routine. You're going to be sore for a little while.
Don't kill yourself on the first workout.
Don't max out on every machine. Take it easy. We'll talk practical steps next week. I want to leave us with just this. I think 1 Timothy 4:8. This kind of puts it in perspective. Paul says to Timothy, for physical training is of value.
Yes.
It is of value, of some value.
Some value.
But godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. And I think that puts fitness into perspective that, okay, hey, it is good. Like it is worth it. Taking care of your body leads to the purpose God has for you.
For sure.
But godliness, if it's not the foundation, if faith is not the foundation of your fitness pursuit, and or your fitness is getting in the way of your relationships with others and relationship with the Lord, then you need to reevaluate. Is it becoming an idol? And that's a great kind of place I want to leave you with. Are your core five, evaluate your core five. Are these other areas, are they in balance or are they out of balance? And if any of those things, not just fitness, if any of those things, I guess other than faith can be the predominant, and that could be the top one. But if any of those other ones are crowding those things out, you need to evaluate. And we have a great free resource just to throw it out. You can go on our website and evaluate your core five. It's the Core 5 action plan. Just a simple way of going, okay, faith, family, friends, fitness, and finance. Are they balanced? And where am I out of balance? And then you can kind of take that and go, okay, I need to focus on something here and make some changes. So any last word before we kind of sign off for this week? I know we talked about it last week. Another plug, but I don't really care. Like, we're trying to get you guys moving, so let's do something about it. Just go on our website. There's like a fitness tab. There's some small things just to help you guys get started. If you're looking just for a way to get started on our fitness tab, just small things, just a little bit. That's a good plug for next week. We're going to focus on some practical ways to get that journey started. So in the meantime, keep evaluating your core five and figuring out where you're focused on and why, the what and the why of fitness. And we'll tune in with you next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Men of Iron podcast. If you enjoyed that episode, you can go to our website, menofiron.org. You can also like that episode. You can ring the notification bell, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. But again, thanks for listening to the Men of Iron podcast.